Welcome to Hundreds and Thousands, the podcast where we get everything that we think that we want and then find out that it's horrible. Today is a really fun episode. We're talking about Poparide driver / wannabe sugar daddy. This one, as soon as it started happening, I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be a good story. I have to do this. Gotta do it for the journal.
Do it for the pod.
For sure. So, this guy, 34 years old, he was well off, data engineer. I met him on Poparide, which for people who don't know what that is, Poparide is kind of like a driving carpooling app. And so basically I was going home for the holidays, booked a Poparide with him. He was over an hour late to pick me up, and he made me wait for him outside in the rain.
In like a sketchy area of town.
In a really sketchy area of town. Like a really, really unsafe area of town where there's lots of people using drugs and homeless people, and it was just honestly really scary and miserable, and I was so pissed waiting there, and I would call him. He'd be like, oh yeah, I'm leaving, and then he obviously wasn't leaving. So when he finally showed up to pick me up, I wasn't like polite. I didn't say anything. I was like, hi, thank you. And I had to sit in the front seat because there was a girl in the back seat and like no room for me, which really sucked. And so I was just sitting in the front seat of his like super bougie, fancy like Mercedes BMW or whatever, and saying nothing the whole drive. And it's a 5-hour drive, guys. Towards the end, I started talking to the girl in the back seat and like kind of telling her about the podcast and telling her about my journal, and he kind of was interested in it, but like I still didn't talk to him. And then when he dropped me off, I was like, okay, bye, and hope to never see him again.
Was he the one that was like a really scary driver too?
Oh yeah, he was a really bad driver too. And it was evening time because he made us leave like super late. And Em was waiting for me, and we had another hour to drive after that. So it was like midnight by the time that we got in. And it was snowing. This guy just sucks. He sucked. So anyways, he asked me out. 4 days later, I get a text from an unknown number. I'm kind of pissed about Poparide that they give out your phone number to people. Mm-hmm. But I guess maybe because I called him through the app it gave. Anyway, so he texted me and he's like, hey, how was your holiday? And I was like, who is this? And he's like, oh, it's so-and-so, the Poparide driver. And I was like, he's like, listen, I'm really sorry about what happened. I'd love to take you out and make up for it. And I was like, oh my God, the audacity of this man. You made me wait for over an hour in the dark, cold rain with like people using substances surrounding me. It was really scary.
Yeah, like what makes you think I'm going to say, yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't talk to you the whole drive.
But obviously she did say yeah. And here's this.
Well, yeah, like obviously I said yes for the plot.
Said something over text about wanting to treat you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, nice. I was like, okay, like whatever. So, anyways, here is the journal entry. Let's just go into it. Wait, that's the intro. Let's do an ick of the week.
Ooh.
I would like to say my ick of the week first, if that's okay. How do you feel about that?
I love that.
Okay. My ick of the week is when a man blames you for, like, things that go wrong. I feel like that's just a fair, like...
I feel like that's not really even an ick. That's just...
Okay. Okay, I'll try again. When a guy has restrictive eating or counts calories, that's an ick to me.
Even in a gym sense?
Yes, but only, and I think it's only specifically to me because it's very triggering for my eating disorder. So I don't think it's super hot.
Yeah, fair.
Like that was, I mean, there are probably lots of things about the football boy that weren't great, but that was crazy. Mm-hmm. He was so careful about what he ate. And it was really uncomfortable. Yeah, oh yeah. The football boy, as a fun little anecdote, guys, he thought that brown sugar packets in, like, diners and stuff were healthier because they were more natural or brown sugar. And I was like,
Yeah, because
my
they're always
dude.
in, like, the brown paper, and they
They look natural. I'm like, my dude, they are actually just white sugar with added molasses. Sometimes not even added molasses. Sometimes just added color. And that really rocked his world. I think I ruined his life that day.
You did.
That's probably why we stopped talking.
Probably.
What's your ick of the week?
Well, my ick is when men wear those little half socks.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a really good one.
Yeah. I don't know why. And, like, their feet are so big. It looks like you're just wearing baby socks.
It does look silly. And if your feet aren't big and you're wearing those socks, then it just looks like lady feet.
And what kind of shoes are you wearing that you need to wear those half socks?
You know what? My brother wears them.
Well, your brother's an ick.
I guess so. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing. I feel like we've learned and grown. Really cute. Let's dive in. Do you want to read the journal entry or do you want me to? It doesn't matter.
I can. All right. So, Poparide driver, 6 feet. He was between 36 and 39 years old. Worked in engineering or company advertisement or data or something.
Something.
So,
but he made a ton of money. He made it very obvious that he makes a ton of money.
Yeah. So, we jokingly told him that he better bring her flowers on the first date, and he did.
Yeah, that's crazy. And so I originally had planned to go out with him a day, but then, like, a day after Em left, but then Em had another date with the rugby boy. And so I was like, oh, like, do you want to just do tonight?
That was my first date with a rugby boy.
Yeah. And so this guy, the Poparide driver, I was like, listen, like, can we do tonight instead? And he had made a reservation, and he had ordered me, like, fancy flowers. And he's like, sure. And so when he showed up with the flowers, he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. They're just grocery store roses.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, I'm so sorry. And this guy, also to clarify, like, he isn't good looking, but he wasn't, like, really, like, he wasn't bad looking. He was just, like, totally mid.
In quotes, mid looking for an old person.
Yeah, like, because he was, like, 39. And he looked 39. Like, he's not, like, a hot girl 39.
Yeah.
He's, like, a man. And he's not, like, he's an immigrant to Canada, so he has, like, an Indian accent, which is cute. That was probably, honestly, the most cute thing about him. Because his personality was not it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that was,
like, it was a cute, yeah, that's really cute about him.
So, after both our dates, I walked up to meet Amy and her date, and he texted her after telling her that my date seemed like he was too mean to me and made fun of me too much.
Which is so funny because after the dates, we were like, oh my gosh, your date, the rugby boy, was so fun. I love how playful he was. I love that he was, like, poking fun at both of us. Mm-hmm. And so that's something we liked about him. And this guy is like, oh, that was so disrespectful. But yeah, he took me to a really expensive cocktail bar, and the drinks were all, like, $25 and up.
Oh my gosh.
And he wanted to get me drunk, for sure.
He did the classic, order whatever you want.
Order whatever you want. And then when he went to the bathroom, he's like, and order whatever food you want. So I did.
Good.
Because I was like, this guy sucks. Like, yeah, I'm going to order the melon prosciutto, whatever, that's like $50. I don't care. And he obviously didn't care.
Yeah. He
got me super drunk and then kissed me in the bar, which I hate. I hate that.
Ugh,
especially, it's a fancy, bougie cocktail bar. It's not like a dive bar. So that's really embarrassing, but I was so drunk.
And then when he was kissing you, he said, I want to spoil you.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. He, like, whispered it into my ear. That was wild.
And then he told you he wanted to take you shopping.
Yeah. He's like, what can I take you shopping for? I'm like, I don't know, like, sports clothes?
So then on your second date, you guys went for a jog. Obviously, he was slower than you because you're so good and speedy.
And this guy said that he has run marathons, and I know that you can get out of running. But there's no shot this guy's run a marathon. I don't know. Or if he did, he didn't run good time. Because, like, I'm 6 minutes a kilometer. I'm not, like, super fast. And he couldn't keep up. So that's kind of embarrassing as a man.
It is. So then you guys went to Lulu, and he bought you, like, $250 worth of stuff.
It was awesome. Guys, it was awesome. But it was also so weird. And, like, it's funny because I feel like every little girl dreams of having a sugar daddy. Every girl dreams of going on a shopping spree and a guy just picking out things for you and like buying them and whatever.
Totally.
But oh my God, at the cashier, the look that the cashier gave me when I stepped aside for him to pay was like she was glaring daggers at me.
Did you use your Lulu discount?
Yeah. Which I wish I didn't. Because she asked for my phone number, so I gave it.
Yeah.
And then it automatically gets my first responder discount. Mm-hmm. But yeah. And the look that she gave me, oh my God. That was so funny. And so I was like, okay, you know what? Like, maybe this is fine. Like, I can go for a few runs with him. Like, he's creepy, and kissing him is weird. And, like, when we're running, I know he's looking at my ass the whole time. But...
because he's so far behind you because he's slow.
True. But free clothes is awesome, especially when you're living in a city that costs a lot of money and you are just one single girl. You know? So I wanted to make it work. And so in the car on the way back from that, I was like, hey, just... and before we went shopping, I had said, listen, like, I don't know what you're expecting, like, but I don't sleep with people I'm not dating. Lies. And I don't let men into my house. Lies. And I don't really like PDA. And he was like, no, that's totally fine. I don't expect anything. I just want to treat you. Whatever. So he said that before we went on our run and before shopping. And then on the way back, I was like, it's really nice that you bought me these things, but just so you know, like, I'm not looking for a relationship. Like, it's fun hanging out with you, but I'm not looking for anything. I don't want...
yeah.
Don't expect anything from me. And he was like, no, of course not. I'm not looking for a relationship either. I'm not that into PDA either. And I'm like, okay.
Bro, what?
Yeah, so that happened. The whole thing was kind of weird and icky, for sure. But I thought maybe I could risk it for the biscuit to get free clothes.
Oh, and he always called you babe and baby girl, like, right away.
From the very beginning. And, like, was talking about taking me on trips and, like, whatever. It was just so much. It really creeped me out. So I only hung out with him those 2 times.
Yeah, and tell them about when you ended things with him.
Yeah, and so he was being just, like, really creepy, like, the things that he would say and stuff, like, just really intense. And then one day I was just like, hey, listen, I don't think I can do this anymore. I feel kind of uncomfortable. You're really nice, and I think that you're looking for something that I'm not able to give you. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was really polite.
Yeah.
Like, he went off on me. He was like, where is this coming from? Like, this is so out of the blue. And then...
I want my stuff back.
Yeah, he asked for the Lululemon stuff back, and I was like, dude, like, I took off the tags. I've already worked out in them, like, 7 times. Your girl has an eating disorder. Like, what? And then when he said that, I was like, oh, no, this guy's really entitled. I need to kind of switch the script so that he doesn't, like, show up at my house all the time and, like, feel like I owe him.
He was being very aggressive.
He was being really aggressive. And so I was like, you know what? Like, I told you that I didn't want anything from the beginning. You bought me those as a gift. It kind of feels like you're implying that it's a payment. And if you think that I'm a prostitute, I wouldn't be worth $200. And that's so disrespectful. And, like, I'm so glad that I found this out about you and blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I'm so sorry. That's not what I meant. And I'm like, whatever. Good luck, buddy. And then I blocked him. And I did see him driving by my house one time. Yeah. In the alleyway, I saw him there. But only that one time, and I never saw him again. But yeah, that was really weird.
Were you sitting on the balcony? Or
yeah.
Were you?
Oh. I was sitting on the balcony. I saw him.
That's so scary.
It was really scary. But he saw me seeing him. And so I think that he...
What?
And then I, like... took out my phone, and then he, like, sped away. I don't know. It was really dramatic. It was really weird.
I don't think you told me that.
I feel like I told you right away. There's not much I don't tell you.
I feel like I would have remembered.
Anyway, so that was crazy. So I tried to have a sugar daddy, but he was just too much. It was too cringy. I can't do it.
This is also a PSA to do not give someone your
address. Yeah, that's another thing.
On the first or second date.
Yeah.
Let him pick you up down the street.
I know.
Or, like, a coffee shop near your house or something.
This is, like, I think he was my, like, 15th date. I made some really dumb choices early on.
You know what? We make the mistakes so our listeners don't have to.
True. Take this free lesson. And so another fun thing about this guy is, so after the shopping date, I went on 2 additional dates that day. That was my triple date day. So I did the run with Poparide driver, and then following that, I met up with this like short East Coast, I think he worked in forestry guy, like a corporate forestry job.
Oh, yeah.
He had green eyes. He was only slightly taller than me. Very, very, very sensitive about his height. Because he, like, did that thing that short guys do where they're like, tall guys think that they're so good. I don't know why. I feel like all the short guys I ever go with always feel the need, like, early on to tell you about how tall guys have an attitude. It's so weird.
It is. It's short guy energy.
It's really short guy energy. But he was really active, like super into biking, but the biking that wears spandex. We went to a donut place that I really like, and we both got matcha lattes, which I think is so fun because not many guys I know like getting matcha. And then we walked on the water. He's really outdoorsy, active.
Walked on water.
Is he Jesus? Yeah, we spent a long time talking together. He's nice. We held hands, but we didn't kiss. We had plans to meet for dinner, and then he went away for, like, later, and he went away early and canceled on me.
Oh, yeah.
And then we rescheduled for the next Friday, and then he canceled on me again, and then wanted to reschedule for the next Friday, and I was like, oh my god, like, no. Like, what? So he sucked.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was crazy. So he was my second date of the day, and then I met with the arborist, who's like younger, green eyes. Yeah, a lot of trees in that afternoon. He took me out for smoothies, which was fun. And we went for a walk. We went for a really long walk along the water too. And he was like interesting, kind of like quiet, a little shy, but not really. He had really interesting views of the world. He was really well read. He also like was a writer on the side.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he was kind of cool.
Wow, so he kills all of those trees and then makes books out of them. That's so full circle.
Wow, amazing. He said something funny on the date. He said, I can tell that you work out a lot because you have really nice quads. He said that to me.
I like it.
And then I was like, what? Like, I laughed so hard. I was like, I feel like that's such a masculine compliment. And he's like, well, it's nicer than saying that you have a great ass. And I was like, no, next time
so that's what you meant.
Yeah, and I was like, honestly, next time just say I have a nice butt. It's not like you'd be the first to tell me. And then when we were on our date walking, we ran into the varsity football boy with his ex-girlfriend.
We're pretty sure.
I'm positive it's his ex-girlfriend. But yeah, we walked right by them, and I can't decide if he saw me or not, but, like, the path isn't that big. He was kind of looking away.
He for sure saw you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. And it's funny because the arborist looks a lot like him.
Everyone looks a lot like him. You have such a hard type.
True. So I was in a weird vibe at the end of that date because I'd seen the varsity boy and I still had so much feelings for him. And so when this guy, the arborist, dropped me off, he was like, oh, do you want to do anything else tonight? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't know, like, maybe we could kiss. And I was like, sure. So then we went to a dark park.
Oh, yeah.
And made out on the bench. And I was, like, in his lap kissing him, and then all of a sudden I smelled, like, cigarettes and weed, and, like, we look up, and there's, like, a guy just up the hill smoking and just watching us. So that was really weird. He texted me a few times after, but, like, obviously nothing continued on there.
The vibes were already weird.
The vibes were weird. So I tried to have a sugar daddy. Didn't work out. I did 3 dates in a day. Shockingly, none of them worked out.
Will you rank them for me? From best to worst?
Well, like, the one with the sugar daddy was okay because I got free stuff. But if you took aside the free stuff, he's obviously the worst. It was so uncomfortable.
So he evens out to kind of the middle then? Or is he still the worst even?
I had the most fun with the forestry guy in the middle who, like, blew me off. And that's why I let him reschedule once.
Yeah.
And then I guess the arborist just was, like, in the middle. I also ran into that guy, so, like, the ex, so
Yeah.
it wasn't, like, the most fun vibe. I was just thinking about him the rest of the date, obviously.
It's interesting how often you run into other people that you've dated when you go on these dates.
Oh my
I guess
God.
that puts it in perspective how much you're dating in this city, because it is not a small city.
No. And honestly, I genuinely do see people that I've gone on dates with all the time.
Last time not last time, but when we went out and you saw the tall.
The Brazilian guy?
No, the other one.
There's so many.
I know.
But yeah, like just like literally 2 days ago, I ran into another guy that I went out with who has the same name as my ex. Like that's the only reason I went out with him. And he looked like him. Something's wrong with me.
Don't worry, she's in therapy.
But I ran into him with like a group of his friends. So weird. Yeah, like when you're dating hundreds and thousands, you're gonna run into them, I guess.
It's true. It's just interesting the variety of dates you have, and you still continue to run into these people, because it's not like you have your like top 3 or 4 date spots.
Yeah, like I'm not going to the same place. Like I almost something that how many dates am I at now? So I've only talked about however many people, but I've been on
like 35?
30. I've been on 38 dates.
Wow.
And so
38 first dates.
Yeah, 38 first dates. And so I just decided that it's important for me to not have to plan any of them ever again, because I'm like it's just not worth it. Most of these guys suck already, but I don't want to put in the thought.
I also like seeing what they choose.
Yeah, I feel like it's a nice little like personality thing. It's a mixed bag, keeps it fun, keeps it fresh.
Totally.
Yeah, do you want to play another game? Perhaps reasons why you've broken up with people or not continued flings?
Sure. Why don't you start?
Okay, I'll start. There was one guy who broke up with me because I was a menace and he was going through it in his life, and he was worried I'd hurt him.
I thought we were going to talk about why we didn't continue seeing them, not why they didn't want to see us.
I think it's a bit of both. So that's why he didn't want to see me. That was a classic.
Oh man.
How about you?
Once I moved away, we were doing long distance, and he just decided he never wanted to visit me.
I remember that. That was crazy.
Really wanted to do long distance, and when I broke up...
Wait, he wanted to do long distance still? He just didn't want to visit you?
He just didn't want to visit.
That's
and then when I broke up with him, he was so mad.
He was mad?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Well, I was going to visit soon.
Oh my god. That's so absurd. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's do one where we broke up with them for a silly reason or didn't continue a fling for a reason. I broke up with a guy because he was busy on Sunday. And he was so pissed. What the fuck? That's what he said, just for reference. He said, what the fuck?
I mean, I would too.
Yeah, I mean, like, you just take me away for the weekend, and then I'm like, oh, you're busy this Sunday? No.
I mean, for a little bit of context, you don't get a lot of weekends off.
No, I don't.
And he had every weekend off.
Yeah, he only has weekends off, and he works during the week and is too tired to see people during the week.
So you would think Sunday.
Okay, how about you?
Oh, man.
Why have you ended something with somebody that's kind of interesting?
I'm not sure.
Em was one stump because she didn't like winter enough. That's awkward of her.
You asked why
I know, I'm just filling the space
because
you're not
building
talking.
up to that one.
Oh, okay.
But that's okay. That one's my favorite. I think that's so funny.
That one is really good. That's a classic.
I can't really think right now of silly reasons I haven't continued seeing someone.
I broke up with my, like, ex because he wouldn't propose to me. And then afterwards I realized that there were so many other problems.
Yeah,
that was cool.
That one's just real.
That one was
not
good.
even silly.
Oh, true. True. One time, when I told the professor, when I broke up with him, I told him that I just wasn't feeling the same anymore because I was off birth control. I was like, oh, my hormones must be different. And
That's
he totally
so
believed me.
good.
And then in the letter that he express mailed to me, he was like, I hope it's just the birth control. Ew.
That one's crazy.
I shudder to think about him.
Me too. He honestly is one of the worst people you've dated, and I dislike the majority of the ones you've dated.
Can you actually rank in order, like, the memorable ones who you would say is the best? Who did you like the most? I think it's Varsity Boy.
No, it's definitely not Varsity Boy. I liked the Aussie.
That's
Ski
interesting.
bum at first.
Yeah.
I didn't like him at the end, but at first I was like, oh, he's cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I hated him.
Yeah.
It was like I kind of hated him, but I was like, oh, he's a good.
You can
fit
respect.
For Amy.
You can
And
respect.
I can respect it. But then I ended up disliking him. I liked the one that came over to bake a cake with you.
Oh, yeah, he was nice. He was
Yeah.
really nice. We didn't continue seeing each other because he was just actually incredibly busy.
Yeah.
Which is too bad.
It is
'cause
too bad.
He's so tall. 6'5".
Whew. Blue eyes?
Blue eyes.
Finance? Trust fund?
No, trust fund, probably. Finance, no. He's a geologist.
Oh, he rocks.
Ha! Ha!
It's hard to rank because I feel like I haven't met that many of them. Honestly, your long-term ex was...
Like, awful, but not that bad.
No, he was awful. But before I learned all the things about him, he was, like, fine.
Yeah, like, before we broke up and I unhinged told people what he was actually like,
Yeah.
people liked him. Well, because he was really nice. When Em came to stay with me, he, like, would bring down... like, trees to the pool and drinks to the pool.
Yeah.
He always let me have people over. He had a really nice apartment that I didn't have to pay rent at.
And he would always leave and, like, let us have girl time and then come home
Yeah.
later, which I think is really sweet.
It's really nice. And he often took me and my friends out and, like, paid for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he liked doing that, like, treating people. And he liked treating his own friends, too. I just think that's really nice. He's so generous.
Yeah, he was generous.
Which is so cute.
Too bad about all the other things.
Yeah, it's too bad that his family effed him up because, honestly, like, if that wasn't the situation, I'm sure I'd be married to him because there's a lot of stuff about him that was good.
And a lot that was bad.
True. All right, well,
Thanks for tuning in.
thanks for coming, guys.
Don't forget to follow our Instagram. Amy, what is it?
It is Hundreds and Thousands Podcast. And please subscribe. We're on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, who knows what else. Maybe lots of other things.
Maybe. I guess you'll have to find it.
T. Goodbye.
Bye.